Islam Makhachev is seen pushing himself in intense training sessions as he prepares for an upcoming welterweight title bout against Jack Della Maddalena. At the same time, Aljamain Sterling offered his thoughts on the potential matchup, voicing a firm belief that Della Maddalena would take control of the fight. Sterling suggested the bout could be so one-sided that it might completely derail any excitement surrounding a possible future clash between Makhachev and Ilia Topuria. He pointed to JDM's physical presence and sharp mid-range striking as key reasons why Makhachev might struggle to land takedowns. Sterling also noted that Makhachev wouldn't be able to rely on his usual size advantage, which has played a big role in many of his previous fights.
Picked JDM to win. Now he's got a big challenge in his first title defense against Islam. Do you think he's got what it takes to beat an Islam Makhachev in his first defense?
People are going to say it's a wild take, but I reckon JDM smokes Islam, shins him so bad. It's going to be so bad that the Topuria Islam thing will just be gone.
So you think Islam's wrestling won't be a threat to JDM just because he's a lot bigger?
He's a lot bigger, and when you watch JDM, you put him on the end of mid-range, he's just going to throw. It's hard to shoot in on. He's not going to be able to just abuse his size against him either. I think Islam's in for.
Islam is staying locked in, putting in the hours and maintaining his trademark focus and discipline. He's refining his wrestling, sharpening his stand-up game, and getting ready for anything that might unfold once the cage door shuts. But taking on someone like Jack Della Maddalena is no easy task. JDM's size, accuracy, and ability to control range pose a different kind of threat. His pressure at mid-range and sharp timing can make it tough for opponents to shoot for takedowns. Even with world-class prep, Islam may find it challenging to implement his usual strategy if he can't close the gap or control the rhythm of the fight. Even with thorough preparation, Islam could have a tough time executing his typical strategy if he's unable to cut the distance or take control of the fight's pace.
Definitely. But like I said, it is hard to try to get an accurate gauge on what it's going to look like, not knowing how Islam is going to look when he moves up. Okay, it's always the question everybody asks when anybody is moving up a weight division or down a weight division. Okay, there's so many unknowns involved. But saying that, I think that Islam can do everything that Belal does, but way better. Okay, way better.
Dan Hardy recently weighed in on Jack Della Maddalena's trajectory in the welterweight division. While he acknowledged Jack's impressive abilities, Hardy raised questions about whether Della Maddalena can maintain dominance as the level of competition intensifies. He gave credit to Jack's strong showing against Belal Muhammad, but voiced doubts about how Islam Makhachev would perform if he moved up to 170 pounds. Although Hardy respects what Islam has achieved at lightweight, he's not fully convinced that the same success would carry over against someone like Della Maddalena. He pointed out the potential challenges Islam could encounter in the welterweight class, especially when it comes to dealing with bigger opponents and maintaining his energy and performance over a full 5-round battle.
I think Della Maddalena's got a bright future. I don't know whether he's going to hold the belt or he's going to lose it to another one of the top contenders and then pick it back up again. I don't think he's going to lose it to Makhachev, though. I think Makhachev holds the lightweight belt against anybody in the world, on any day, including Ilia Topuria. I don't think if he moved up, he would have much success against Makhachev. But Della Maddalena looked very, very sharp against Belal. And I wonder what Makhachev would look like as a welterweight, whether he would look as strong and as lean or whether he would look heavier and, potentially gas himself out because he'd be stepping straight into a 5-round fight.
Makhachev has been pushing himself to the limit in training, fully aware of the high-level competition that awaits him. His preparation is intense and well-rounded, featuring relentless wrestling drills, polished striking sessions, and top-tier sparring to ensure he's sharp in all areas. Surrounded by elite coaches and training partners, Islam is leaving no stone unturned. He knows that facing a well-rounded contender like Jack Della Maddalena will take more than raw skill. It'll require precision, discipline, and sustained pressure. Day in and day out, he's putting in the work to be ready for anything that might come his way. Daniel Cormier recently spoke about the possibility of a clash between Makhachev and Della Maddalena, calling it a thrilling, high-stakes showdown. According to Cormier, if Jack maintains his current momentum, the matchup becomes even more compelling, especially with the added intrigue of Islam moving up to a new division. While Cormier applauded Makhachev's dominant grappling and physical strength, he also raised concerns about how those strengths would translate against someone with Jack's size and power. He pointed to reports suggesting that Islam has been cutting weight in anticipation of a potential bout during International Fight Week, which raises the question of whether he'll have enough time to add the necessary size and adjust to the physical demands of competing at welterweight.
I'll watch regardless. It's a fantastic fight. It's a big-time fight. And if Jack Della looks the way he did last weekend, it's very, very intriguing fight because we've never seen Islam Makhachev fight up at 170 pounds. We've never seen it. We've never seen him have to compete up 15 more pounds. Yes, he is a big dude. But in terms of full-on stature, is he big as Jack Della Maddalena is? And also, if he thought he may fight International Fight Week, how small had he gotten? And how much time does he have to put the weight back on the right way before he moves up to 170?
Cormier also highlighted that the real buzz around this potential matchup goes beyond just the technical aspects. It's the storyline that truly draws people in. With Jack Della Maddalena recently crowned as the welterweight champion after a hard-fought victory over Belal Muhammad, the stakes are already high. Now he could be facing a challenge from Islam Makhachev, a dominant lightweight star making the jump to a new weight class. According to Cormier, this kind of champion versus champion scenario naturally generates excitement. It's a recipe for drama, unpredictability, and high anticipation. While detailed breakdowns of skills and strategy will come later, Cormier believes it's the overarching narrative, the rise of a new champion, a proven force from a lighter division moving up, and the clash of styles and legacies that makes this potential bout so compelling right now.
A lot of questions. But it's a big-time fight, and we'll get into the X's and O's as we get closer. But right now, we're talking the story. We're talking about a guy that just beat Belal Muhammad to become champion, now getting challenged by a 155-pound champion.
A newly released training clip shows Islam Makhachev locked in and fully dialed into refining his signature wrestling approach. The footage captures him drilling takedowns with pinpoint accuracy, chaining techniques together seamlessly, and going up against larger training partners to replicate the size and strength he'll face at welterweight. It's a clear signal that Makhachev is fine-tuning his grappling-heavy style to handle bigger opponents without sacrificing his trademark speed and control. This behind-the-scenes look has reignited excitement among his fan base, reinforcing the belief that, even in a higher weight class, his world-class wrestling could still be the ultimate X factor. Meanwhile, MMA analyst Luke Thomas praised Jack Della Maddalena's striking in his recent bout, noting how he managed to impress even against a tough competitor like Belal Muhammad. Still, Thomas pointed out a few red flags in Jack's performance, particularly defensive gaps and risky takedown attempts that could leave him vulnerable. He warned that against someone like Islam Makhachev, known for his clinical control and ability to capitalize on mistakes, those flaws might become major liabilities.
Striking prowess of JDM, if he could just have enough time to get it going, would be enough. I think Muhammad somewhat overperformed relative to expectations, but in the end, JDM was better. But the defensive lapses, to me, I know we have to focus on like how good JDM is as a striker, but what could have cost him here was the incompleteness of his defense. And to me, he took a quantum leap forward today in showing how good that was. Now, again, trying to turn that defense into offense by trying to go for some of those ill-advised takedowns, especially in the fifth, and then you're getting kind of lateral dropped for it. You do that against Islam, and I think that's a huge mistake. Islam just doesn't make a lot of mistakes, right? He doesn't necessarily have, at times, always the flashiest offense. I mean, he does have very good offense. We're talking about the pound-for-pound number one guy in the sport. But what really defines him is that he makes very, very good decisions.
Luke Thomas also expressed his excitement about the possibility of Islam Makhachev moving up to the welterweight division. While he acknowledged that a clash between Makhachev and Ilia Topuria would be an exciting matchup, Thomas admitted he's even more intrigued by how Islam might fare at 170 pounds. He recognized that stepping up a weight class brings serious challenges and no guaranteed success, but also noted that the potential reward is massive. For Makhachev, it's a chance to chase a second belt and cement his place in history as a two-division champion.
Up at 170 to me is exciting. I know what everyone's going to say. Oh my God, the best fight you could have made in MMA was Ilia versus Islam. I'm not denying it. I'm not in any way asking you to feel differently about what was the best fight that could be made. But here's what I am trying to tell you. Islam up at 170 could be something really special. It could fizzle too, but I'm trying to point out the positives. It could be really special. For him to become a double champ could be a very big deal. Just because you're going to get, it looks like, Makhachev and JDM next, doesn't mean you actually can't get Makhachev and Ilia at some point. It could be he goes up against JDM and maybe he doesn't get his ass kicked, but maybe he just kind of loses and you're like, oh, all right. Then you go back to 55 and you can see what's up after that. So it's not even a case that you can't get it. But my point is, Islam at 170, if he gives us 3 or maybe even 4 of those, is a treat as far as I'm concerned. Like him vying for double champ status, he's earned it. He gave Volkanovski 2 cracks. He accepted one of those on short notice, and I know it was like shorter notice for Volkanovski, but nevertheless, accepting to fight Alexander Volkanovski on very, very short notice is still risky no matter who you are and no matter how much prep. And he gave him both of those. He did one of those fights in Volkanovski's home country.
Stephen Thompson offered his perspective on the hurdles Islam Makhachev might face in a move to the welterweight division. While he acknowledged Islam's notable strength, Thompson emphasized that many welterweights cut down from over 205 pounds, suggesting the size and power difference could be a major obstacle. He mentioned that although Jack Della Maddalena may not be significantly taller than Islam, the overall physicality of the welterweight class presents a different kind of test. Thompson praised Makhachev's world-class grappling, but also pointed out that Jack has already proven himself against strong wrestlers, including Bilal Muhammad. He admitted that a bout like this wouldn't be an easy task for Islam, but shared his enthusiasm for the matchup, saying he'd love to see the UFC make it happen.
Makhachev walks around fairly heavy, but a lot of these 170s, they walk around real heavy. I'm talking about, over 205, 210 to the 215. Some of the guys that I faced would walk around at that weight. I think like the height, I think they might be the same height. I think JD might be a little taller, but when it comes to those guys and their strength, Islam, I think, is going to have a tough time. Now, do I think he could get it done? Yes. I think he's that good of a grappler. But like I said, JDM has faced some of the best welterweight grapplers and wrestlers in the division. Bilal being one of them. I think it's going to be a tough night for him. I would like to see Islam fight Topuria. That's just me. I would love to see that fight happen. But if he comes up, we'll see what the UFC gets behind. And we all know you got to convince the UFC to make it happen. And you do that first by getting on Twitter, shouting it out, and get people talking about it. And that's what Islam did. So we'll see if that fight happens.
Ali Abdelaziz has confirmed that Islam Makhachev will be competing for the official welterweight title this year, not an interim belt. He clarified that Jack Della Maddalena currently holds the championship, but if Jack is unable to fight, another contender will step in to challenge Islam for the vacant title. Abdelaziz mentioned that this plan has already received approval from the UFC, including Dana White and Hunter Campbell. One key condition for Islam's move up is that if Jack suffers an injury, the belt would be declared vacant. While Abdelaziz hopes Jack remains healthy, he made it clear that the UFC is prepared to move forward with the title fight, regardless of the circumstances.
Islam and Jack.
Islam fighting for the title this year. The non-interim title, a title. Jack Maddalena is the champion, but if Jack is not available, it will be someone else fighting Islam for the title. That's what the UFC told me. That's what Dana told me. That's what Hunters. Everybody said that. And that was one of the stipulations. If Islam go up, Jack get injured, and I hope he's healthy, and he seemed like he's healthy. This title will be vacated.
Gilbert Burns has voiced his support for Islam Makhachev's move up to welterweight, suggesting that 170 pounds might actually be a better fit for him, since cutting down to 155 has been challenging. Burns praised Islam as one of the best pound-for-pound fighters in the world, but cautioned that a fight against Jack Della Maddalena could be much closer than many expect. He noted that Jack has been training with top-tier athletes like Alexander Volkanovski and Craig Jones, which has helped him develop valuable skills and experience. While Burns hasn't done a full breakdown of the potential matchup yet, he believes it would be an intense and highly competitive fight.
Being saying vocal that he wants to go up to 170. I think he's a big boy. He killed himself to make 55. I think that's the right division for Islam. He just tweeted something after the fight that he will not vacate the title, and then he vacated the title. I don't know, but probably that was in the negotiation. Yeah, I like him moving up. I've proven himself. He's #1 pound for pound right now. It's a good fight. Jack and Islam closer than people think, especially with Jack Della Maddalena doing a lot of training with Volk, with Craig Jones, those guys that kind of back the Islam on that first Volk fight. I think they're gonna have a lot of info, a lot of study, a lot of answers. It's closer than people think, this fight. I really like this fight. I don't have time right now. I didn't have time to dig deep a little too much on that fight, but I think it's way closer than people think, and JDM has a clear shot.
Henry Cejudo predicted that Islam Makhachev would come out on top against Jack Della Maddalena, becoming a two-division UFC champion, a natural progression for Islam's legacy. On the other hand, Kamaru Usman showed his backing for Jack, commending his composure inside the cage and expressing confidence in Jack's ability to successfully defend his welterweight title. Both Cejudo and Usman agree the fight is likely to take place in October in Abu Dhabi, which means any potential showdown between Makhachev and Ilia Topuria is currently on hold.
I think he's going to become the 11th double champ in UFC history.
Islam tweeted, keep it shiny, keep it nice for me. JDM, I mean, it was kind of like the perfect comeback. He was just like, yeah, come get it.
Keep my belt clean. Okay, so the talking has begun, dude. That fight is set. That fight's going to take place in October, Abu Dhabi. I think we all know that. We're no longer going to get Ilia versus Islam Makhachev just now, but we are going to get a fight at 155, and that's going to be Charles Oliveira, Ilia Topuria.
Javier Mendez shared his thoughts, saying it's tough to say whether Jack Della Maddalena would be Islam Makhachev's toughest opponent yet. However, he made it clear that Islam is eager for the fight and fully prepared. Mendez praised Islam's skill set and relentless dedication, pointing out that Makhachev competes at a level above anyone Jack has faced so far. He added that if the fight happens, fans can expect to see Islam at his absolute best. Mendez also noted that moving up to welterweight suits Islam physically, as he won't be undersized and will remain a strong, serious contender in the division.
It's hard to say. It's hard to say if he's a harder challenge. I just know Islam wants this one. So for me, that's the challenge I want, and it's the challenge that I know Islam's going to be, supreme over, because I just know his skill set. I know what he brings to the table, and he brings an incredible work ethic along with skill set in every area. So, Islam's a whole different animal than the Jack's ever been involved with. So if that fight does materialize, we're going to see a hell of a fight, and you're going to see Islam perform at an absolute incredible level. And also, the weight is not super big for him either. So he's going to be a fairly decent welterweight. So Islam won't be a small guy. He'll be a decent welterweight.
That wraps up today's video. What do you think about this potential matchup? We'd love to hear your opinions, so drop your thoughts in the comments below. And if you enjoyed the video, don't forget to like and subscribe for more content.